the contract, then it's in the contract, and you
I
can't
just,
change that contract.
I just would like to call it out for what it is and just look at it in the future instead of saying that everybody gets it moving forward, because that's an expense.
I'm not
Is what it
sure.
is. I just had wondered because it
It's
jumped
not
out.
in, I'm not sure that that's in everything else.
Right. Okay. Anybody have any other questions on accounts payable though?
Yes, yes, Mr. Cook, I think everyone has received my correspondence relative to the accounts payable that I reviewed from last month. And I, again, would like to request the backup material, the invoices for the general legal matters, check number 4645, the Knox Law Firm, for $11,739. I requested it before, and I was sent the backup material, invoices, and charges for this one. I also looked at, there's still a charge, and there's some question as to Verizon Wireless District cell phones. Apparently this is on a monthly basis, $3,596. Who has them? How many do we have? Do we have a contract with Verizon? There are some issues here about accounts payable, and in my correspondence to Mr. DePlacido with copies to school board directors, I question accounts payable. For instance, if Robert Agnew, who was the superintendent back in the 80s, if there is a contract with him that was, which is a legal contract when he retired, shouldn't that be annotated in the description of the purchase? And it could easily be stated, a contract dated 9/1/1989, so that we're making out checks. The checks have already gone out. Is that correct? Mr. O'Toole, is that correct?
It depends if it's on the weekly or the monthly. If it's on the weekly,
Okay,
yeah.
well, you have check number 4627 to Robert Agnew, medical benefits for $1,485.60. I am presuming that that check already went out. Now, the question that I raised is that if it already went out and someone signed an invoice for the statement for this payment approved by either yourself or the responsible party of the district, the employee of the district, then why does the board have to approve something that has already been approved?
You don't. You don't have to approve it. It's part of the contract. Like, the school district could just pay it.
Okay, I understand. Is that Mr. Senate?
That's correct.
Okay, Mr. Senate, we have a list of checks. I presume that someone has, from the district, a district official, employee, has reviewed that invoice, has signed off on that invoice that we have received services or the product, or et cetera, and that's dated as receiving the invoice from the vendor. Then what's the purpose of the board approving accounts payable? Is that part of the public school code?
Obviously, you have to approve all, accounts payable could include a lot of different things. Some of them could include contract payments. The example that you used was a contract payment, and you asked a specific question as to whether or not you have to approve it. The bottom line is no. Legally, you don't. Not every, I think it's more prudent, however, that we do list all the accounts payable because you want to do that, and you want the board to review it, and want to be aware of it. And then you can ask these questions, is this a contract payment or is this not a contract payment? So I answered your question, and I think the policy and practice that the board has reviewed, has required in the past, is we list them all. And we identify it by check, and then you approve them all. And that way there's an ability for the board to take a look at it, ask questions, and move on.
Right, and I agree with that. I agree with that. And if you notice that yours truly has not approved accounts payable due to that reason. And Mr. Jacobson from the Ethics Commission stated during your seminar that this is where you get into trouble, where the school board directors just review it and something may have been slipped in. And then when you start asking questions, who's accountable? So all invoices, I believe, and I put it in my correspondence to all school board directors, and Mr. DePlacio as our representative president, that the entire process of accounts payable and invoices must be approved by someone so that there is documentation to validate and verify the services or products rendered. Thank you.
We have, Mr. Aliota, we've already presented what that process is. And according to PSBA, the policy for which PSBA recommended is what we bring forward to the board, which is a check register listing the check, the description, and the amount. So we're following the policy for which the board has adopted and providing what the policy states to the board for accounts payable approval.
And I understand that. I appreciate that, Ms. O'Toole. That is what you are doing at the present time, and that is the practice. But in the policy, the process by which you, as the director of finance, will approve these charges, these checks, that is not stated in the policy. Who, in your division, approves all the services and products that comes into the district, and you have an invoice, and how that invoice, and again, I bring up a very sore subject, whereby what is the administrative regulations of when a citizen submits a right to know request? How does the open records officer process that request? So that's what I'm addressing. I'm sure that Mr. Hall will forward to you my correspondence to the board. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Any other questions on accounts payable? 11.14 is our Pepsi agreement. I think we wanted to discuss this a little bit.
I had a question. I just wanted to, and I had talked to Aaron briefly before, I wanted to just see kind of the comparison, the Coke versus Pepsi and what the overall advantage was.
Coke had been our previous.
Coke had been our previous. The one thing I would like to mention right now is there's some new information regarding this contract that could change in light of what the recommendation may be. However, as we sit right now, Coke provides more of a guaranteed money, whereas Pepsi would provide more options available at a 5% more commission rate.
So if we sold more, we could make, there's a possibility to make more, or
Correct.
guaranteed to make more
correct.
on the base with Coke.
I'm wondering also, there's a caveat in there that says we have to purchase from them. But I was at one of the football games last year and they ran out of everything. Are we able to run to the Giant Eagle or the Country Fair or something during a football game if we run out in that very rare occasion? Because I kind of hate to see us lose out the boosters or something like that.
It depends on the contract you're looking at.